Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fast-Athon 2025. We are raising money for able gamers, and in regard to raising money, we've had two donations in the interim. We have had a $20 donation from Kingfisher Games with the comment, rounded up to $20 from the 18 deaths. Let's keep making things better for the community. Gaming is for everyone. And we've also seen $18 from JMTBO2. So yeah, absolutely amazing. That has taken our total now to $207.69. That the meme of 16969 is officially dead now, so you can feel free to donate. We can keep the 69 cents, so that's absolutely fine. But if we could start pushing towards the 250 mark before the end of this marathon, that would be absolutely awesome. So if you can donate, please do. It's an incredible cause, Able Gamers. Just exclamation donate in chat or look at the pinned comments at the top. Will give you all the information you need. But without any further ado, let's hand things over to Leah, for we are going to have some Diddy Kong racing.
Hello, this is the third and final time I'll be appearing in this marathon. And this game is really cool. I was saying this just before we, transitioned over to my end, but everyone loves this game. Like, everyone agrees this game is great. Most people say it's better than Mario Kart 64, and then no one runs it. It's like, this is a surprisingly underground speedrun, even though it's like the 8th best-selling game on the N64. But, this is also a particularly underground category, because this actually does not have a leaderboard on speedrun.com yet. This is a very special category, where we basically play every track with every possible vehicle. There are 3 categories on speedrun.com called the vehicle percents, and we're basically just going to be doing those back to back to back, so every track in car, then in hover, then in plane. And yeah, there is a lot of stuff to explain, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing started in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so first up is car percent. We have 16 car tracks to do, and most of these tracks are car by default. That is to say, in the adventure mode of the game, you will have to play these in cars, so a lot of these will seem familiar. Only 4 of them are not in car by default. But the other vehicles, they have a lot more non-default tracks, so to speak. But yeah, in the adventure mode of the game, you will only play the tracks in one vehicle, but in the track select menu, you can access all these different combinations. And what's really cool is that these tracks are just built with all these combinations in mind. So, yeah. Now, the main speed pack of car, which you might have heard of, it's probably the most popular piece of speed pack in this game, is A-tapping. Common misconception, it's not mashing. It is not mashing under any circumstance, pretty much. Most of the time it is a comfortable 5 taps per second, and each of those taps should ideally last 1 frame. So yeah, if you like pull up a metronome, put it to 300 BPM, it's definitely not mashing. Oh wow, there's an oil slick there, don't know how I didn't have that. Oh. This is kind of like the hardest second track in any racing game, honestly. There's a trick we like to do here called Canyonless. That's a successful one. It's very fast, you get the zipper, you get a balloon, and then you get another balloon in the canyon, you get a load of speed. And that's the thing about this game, like, to distinguish it from like Mario Kart 64, or even like most other Mario Kart games, this is like a speed racer. Whereas Mario Kart 64 is more like a precision racer. Like, in that game, it's very much dependent on how tight of a line can you take. But in this game, it's how much speed can you build up. So, you know, kind of like a racing game. And we got a really fun and quick car track here. Everyone loves this track, Jungle Falls. Super fast. CPUs get a little bit in the way here. On that note, CPUs, there is no rubber banding in this game. The CPUs, you will usually lap them once, sometimes even twice. And you can generally figure out where they're going to be based on your pace. So in Jungle Falls there, they tend to get in the way right around that point on lap 2. Interesting thing is, if you play this in the trophy race mode instead of just just playing the track normally, the AI is actually stronger in trophy race, so they actually don't get in the way there. But in this category, we just play, or at least the route I use for this marathon, we just play every track normally. This is another pretty fast and fun car track. There is a difficult chain I can do with this blue balloon, which I'm not going to be able to get because I missed that zipper. But yeah, if you chain boosts together, it doesn't just increase the duration of the boost, it actually stacks up the speed each time. Speaking of boost balloons, this track is one of only 2 that doesn't have any, actually, at least in car. So this is a relatively chill track, overall. This gives me a good chance to talk about the music in this game, which is amazing. Everyone agrees on that. Normally, when going for PB attempts in categories that are played in track mode, like this one, we actually turn off the music. And the same goes for any time trials we do, most of the time. Like, the music is slow, unfortunately. That's because the N64 is well, not the N64, but this game is coded in a weird way where they kind of didn't allocate any separate processing to the audio. So as a result, it kind of just, yeah, it's really intensive. And the game doesn't like that very much. So basically, turning up the music will reduce the lag. And lag? Or, well, the physics in this game are kind of dependent on the frame rate. So a lot of the time you want less lag. Not all the time, there are some cases where you do want lag. But there are ways we can generate that lag if we want it. This is our first non-default car track. Normally you play this in a plane, but you can play this in a car as well, and it's really difficult in a car. Kind of the theme with car, these non-default car tracks are usually really difficult to navigate because they've got crazy terrain that was made for planes, and it's only like somewhat navigable with car. Ow. You'll notice jumps are usually really beneficial for car, although they're slightly hard to control. When you have a boost and you take a jump, you will keep your boost speed during that jump like this, until you hit a wall. So if you can take a boost and then get a jump, well yeah, you're going to be flying. I should also note, when we are taking jumps, we want to tap the A button about a frame before we land, and if we do that successfully, then it's like a 2-frame window to do it, but... Ooh. Ah, that was almost a good ending. So sometimes the finish line poles are made out of, well, holes, sometimes they're made out of air, and you can go through them. But yeah, if we successfully do that A-tapping thing when we land, called air taps, we preserve a lot more speed from the boost when we land. And it's the key to going fast in a lot of these tracks that have jumps, like this one, Walrus Cove. This is like a casual player's favourite track usually, and it's quite fun in speedrunning as well, if a bit inconsistent. We can do a big chain over here. Whee! And a cheeky little air tap before we do that hard B turn. On that note, B in this game is a turning tool, it's not exclusively a brake. In fact, it's most often a turning tool. There is a different strat you can do with that blue balloon. Like, you can use it earlier and then kind of get some jumps across those small mounds rather than chaining it into the last zipper. It's a tiny bit faster, but it's a lot harder in my experience, so I just go for the safer one. A lot of people in the community don't believe it's anywhere near as fast as the early balloon, but I want to prove them wrong. But getting no balloon at all pretty slow as well. Oh dear. Do not under any circumstance touch that ice, by the way. It bounces you, and it's kind of painful. Kind of slow. If that happens. This is a really hectic track, Snowball Valley. Kind of anything can happen here. I'd say this is one of the least consistent car tracks, at least in the balloon race mode, so with all these blue balloons, as opposed to Time Trial, which doesn't have any. Ooh. This track has such messy terrain, and car is generally the vehicle that struggles the most with terrain like this. When we get to Hovercraft in about like 15 minutes time, we'll be able to see how Hover has a much easier time handling all these kinds of weird bits of terrain, and of course plane can just go all the way over them. Another casual favourite track here, and also a really fun one in speedrunning, Frosty Village. This track is also known as the Lag Village, because it is extremely laggy. One of the, I'd say, 3 laggiest tracks in the game. This is a comfortable 15 FPS right now. Most of the time when you've got music on, the game will be running at 20 FPS. But in tracks like this, it does quite often dip down to 15. Like right, not there. But yeah, like right there, it dipped down to 15. That's not the stream lagging, that's not my internet, that is the game. We are playing this on an M64. Oh, phased right through that, was like. And frame rate drops can be a good thing, because the way boosts work in this game, each boost has 2 halves to it. There is the first half where you are building up the speed, and there is the second half where it is dropping back down. And that kind of operates based on the frame rate. So you want a high frame rate ideally when you're starting a boost, because there are more frames on which it can build speed. Oh. Even the menu is really laggy there. And conversely, you want a low frame rate when you're coming off a boost, so it decays more slowly. So frame rate drops can be good. This is a really short but quite difficult car track, mostly that big blind turn there, and this ending turn. That last hit can be a real pain to hit. This is one of my favourite car tracks. This one's super fun at a high level. And generally, like a 12 is a really good lap here. This is kind of messy. This is how CPUs can really get in the way sometimes. Be a massive pain. Oh. Oh dear, that is the absolute opposite of what I want to happen. This is our second non-default car track, and I'm kind of being roundhoused at the beginning here because I messed up the very first input. This is honestly a pretty chill one, except for the very beginning and ending sections. There's honestly not too much going on here. It's mostly just normal driving with no boost. Except for this ending part. Oh. Okay. So G at the beginning here, you kind of chain these 2 zippers, and then, yeah. Something I haven't mentioned yet, but which has been relevant, is that you can kind of pitch the car up and down in the air. It's not like you have no control in the air, it's just kind of minimal. If I get to the beginning of this lap here. As we go up this here, I'm pushing the car down a bit because otherwise it'll kind of it has a chance to go over that ledge completely, and I kind of need that ledge to redirect myself a bit. I'm doing my best to not get destroyed here. Oh dear. The green and red balloons aren't actually super helpful for the player, because oftentimes the CPUs will just cheat and act like they don't exist if they're off screen. But what can happen is when you use any item, including boost balloons, the CPU will tend to use theirs around the same time, so if you are just firing off missiles just because you have them and you want to be funny, that can lead to a CPU dropping a trap that you'll run into on the next lap. And that actually comes into play on this track. There is a blue balloon at the beginning, which I intentionally dodge on lap 1. One, because I find it easier to get the bananas without it, and 2, because it can lead to CPUs dropping a trap more often towards the end of lap 1. Or around the beginning. See, there was a trap right there, which I managed to dodge. There's usually a bit around here. There's usually a bubble there, which Bumper ran into instead of me. Thank you. That's an okay Green Village. Right, we got a fairly difficult car track here. In fact, a lot of people will probably say this is the single hardest track vehicle combination in the game. This is a plain track normally. It has extremely bumpy terrain, and we're playing it with the vehicle that is worth equipped to handle that. Okay, good. I did not get my balloon replaced there. Which means... Okay, well, would like to build up a triple there, but still a double balloon you can use on the bottom path here. It is technically faster to take the top path, which has a bridge, but the bottom path is a lot easier.
And if I can just hop in for a second,
Yeah.
we have had a $25 donation from Water King. No comment, but that has taken our total now to £232 and $232.69. Sorry, I'm very used to working in pounds rather than dollars, but $232.69. So thank you for that donation. We are creeping ever closer to that $250 mark. So if you can donate, please do. We are raising money for Able Gamers, a charity that looks to provide people with disabilities with peripherals and in general access to video games. So if you can donate, please do. Apparently I'm reliably told that's Kingfisher Games' dad. So thank you for that donation, and please do keep them coming in. We are creeping ever closer to that 250. Exclamation donate in chat, or you have the pinned comment at the top. But thank you everyone who has donated so far. Please do keep them coming.
There we go. Now this track is...
sorry, in the sake of fairness, sorry, it's not just his dad, it's his mum and dad, apparently, so I would not want to not give his mum all the credit deserved, so Kingfisher Games, mum and dad, thank you very much.
Now this is a default car track, but it is probably considered the hardest default car track, or at least in the top 3. As you can probably tell, this track has extremely bumpy terrain. And it is fully intended to be handled with car. But yeah, this is definitely one of the hardest tracks to get good at. A lot of jumps here, a lot of lag. This is an extremely laggy track. Ooh. Kind of anything can happen. Big portions where it gets down to 15 FPS pretty much every time. Oh, how could I forget? There's something really cool we can try and go for here. I forgot to go for that. But now I can start going for it. It's okay if I don't hit it, because we're going to be playing this track in Hovercraft too, and I might have a chance to hit it there. Oh, That was sketchy. It's really hard to play with all the lag. Like, it really messes with the amount of control you have. This might not work. No. CPUs are going to get in the way either way. Chunky 15 FPS at the end again. Alright, Star City. This is a rather chill car track. I quite like this one. Also, this is the Pride Tunnel. Happy Pride. What do you mean Pride Month was like 5 months ago? We're going to be seeing that tunnel at least 6 more times, by the way. Yeah, not much to say about this one. It just kind of speaks for itself. Just a pretty cool car track. The city section's the most difficult part. And this ending chain. Which I've nailed both times so far. CPUs can get in the way here. With normal difficulty CPUs, which I'm using right now, because I'm not playing in a trophy race, they can really get in the way. End of lap 2, beginning of lap 3, if you're on a good run. That was quite a good Star City, honestly. I mean, I've had up to a 108 there before, but anything 110 and below is pretty good. Alright, last track at car percent here. And this is a bit of an oddball, honestly, probably the most unique car track. So this track actually has no zippers that you can hit in car. It is the only track vehicle combination like that in the entire game where there are no zippers that can be hit. For the record, the air zippers that you see dotted around the track, they are not tangible in car, but there is this really big chain you can do. Whee! Big jump. That is the one boost chain you can do in car, in this track. But since balloons don't exist in time trial mode, in time trials this track is, yeah, pretty much just no zippers, no boosts, no nothing. Just how well you can A-tap and do this weird vent section here, which so far I've done pretty well. Let's get the chain one more time. Can be a bit difficult because balloon hitboxes can be sometimes unresponsive or just difficult to hit when you're going quite fast. But yeah. If I were just doing a car percent run, I would end time as soon as I finish this race, but we've got 31 more races to do in this run. We're far from done. Whee! Big chain to send off the car percent run. So that comes out to a 21:15 car percent. It's a decent time, it's about a minute off my PB. I think it's probably somewhere like top 6 on the leaderboards. And now we're going to hovercraft. The way we're going to do this is we're going to just work our way back through the tracks, and then when we get to plane, we're going to play through them in rough order again. You might be wondering what the hell I'm doing right now. This is not really the way you're supposed to go, but trust me, I'm cooking. Oh, look at that, how am I in first? Isn't that a little bit weird? So this is quite a special track, because I've got one of only 2 checkpoint manipulations we're going to do in this run. So this game has a shockingly exploitable checkpoint system. It's extremely easy to do. There are many shortcuts that are, many shortcuts that are extremely easy to do, just require looking at a guide for like 3 minutes. And this is one of them. If you, basically kind of drive between these 2 points, be careful to avoid some parts that mess up your checkpoint, you're pretty much good. So here, touch that dotted line there, straight line. Stay on this blue part, because if you go on like the normal path, it'll undo your checkpoint. And just keep going. Go back to about this white line here, and then turn back around. And that's pretty much it. If you get a wrong way come up like right here, then that means you got it. The oddity is that you are going to be running into the CPUs like that. Like kind of running into them backwards as they're completing the track normally. So the thing about hover, hover can be played on every track in the game. It is very well represented in time trial mode, where we feature all these vehicle combinations and stuff. Despite that, hover is only the default vehicle on 3 tracks. So in like an all trophy races or 100% run, you would barely see any hovercraft, which is kind of unfortunate because this is a really fun vehicle. A lot of casual players say they don't like this one, but like with SpeedTech it is quite fun, if a bit difficult on the hands sometimes. Maybe don't play this one if you have hand problems. As you will notice I am snaking pretty much constantly. So I'm just holding up, left, / up, right on the joystick, moving between them. Holding up, in addition to moving left and right, kind of limits my turning a bit, helps me stay on a straight line, and also kind of pushes me into the ground a little bit, which for some reason is faster. That said, you will want to hold full left or full right for some sharp turns. But for the most part, that works out. We are also A-tapping in hover as well, although the A-tapping is very different to how you do it in car. Whereas it's kind of the tap that matters in car, it's more the release that's important in hover. You kind of want to focus on releasing the A button for as little as possible in hover. Ideally 1 frame at a time. So whereas I'm like properly slapping the A button in car, I'm kind of just like doing like mushy taps in hover. Like mostly keeping my thumb flush with the button. I really hope I hit this silly thing one time. I ran this category for GDQ like about a month ago, and I did not hit any of them. That's so sad. Ooh. This is surprisingly a very fun track to play in hover. It's one of my favourites. Even though it seems kind of unorthodox. Ah. I'm gonna try again. Ah. I promise I'm not insane trying to smash into loot walls. Oh. There are quite often tracks dotted on lap 3 in this track in both vehicles. Right. Oh, Pipsy's gonna get in the way. Yeah, Pipsy got in the way. She's probably gonna get in the way here too. Okay, yeah, we did not get it. Probably because doing it with music on is especially difficult. So if you smash into kind of like the wall of the loop, I restarted the track, whoops. If you kind of smash into the loop wall perpendicularly where the boost starts, you can kind of get sent up at a 90-degree angle and fly out of bounds. It's not the hardest thing ever to hit, but with music on, the limited control you have, it is kind of difficult. But yeah, I would have liked to hit that. We do actually, as a result, have shortcut categories for Dark Moon Caverns on the time trial page, because it is considered a shortcut, you're going out of bounds. And that also makes it the only, I say that, there is Walrus Cove as well with its loop, which you can get a shortcut out of in hover. But that does make it the only non-plane track along the Walrus Cove that has an out-of-bounds shortcut. This track is pretty difficult in every vehicle. I think not so bad in Hover. Hover's probably the easiest vehicle on this track. Quite well equipped to handle terrain. And Hover can jump to use plane zippers. Car is not able to use plane zippers, but Hover can. Oh, that missile could have gone for me. So we're now playing an actual default hover track. You do actually play this one in hovercraft, and you can only play this one in hovercraft as well. That's the case of all the other two default hover tracks as well. They are only playable in hovercraft, not car or plane. Car for obvious reasons, plane... I don't know why plane. Plane actually would have worked fine on some of these Plane would have worked fine on some of these hover-only tracks. Probably not this one, though. But yeah, this track is also extremely laggy. I'd say this is one of the 3 laggiest tracks in the game, along with Bumping Cabins and Frosty Village. Oh, I like hit an oil slick there. I think I did an oil slick, but it barely slowed me down. Yeah, comfortable 15 FPS, especially on lap 3, when we're meeting up with all the CPUs. And by comfortable, I mean extremely uncomfortable. Oh, missing the balloons. You might notice I'm pulling the hovercraft back when I'm descending in the air. That is called Leah strat, because I discovered it. And we're not very good at naming things, to be honest. But yeah, for some reason it kind of speeds you up when you're descending. We have no idea why it does that. We're in the process of decomping this game, and by we, I mean not, like, other people. Not us, for the most part, but we are overseeing the decomp for this game and starting to figure out why stuff like that happens. But it's still kind of a way off understanding it, fully. This is another track that is surprisingly enjoyable. Like, you wouldn't expect... I mean, casually you probably wouldn't expect, like, a very turny track like this one to be enjoyable in what is casually considered the worst vehicle. But surprisingly it is, once you get a grip on the hovercraft. It's mostly the fact that you need to hold the R button in the hovercraft to be able to turn it effectively, which the game doesn't really do a good job of telling you. If you want to see something cool, go to Diddy Kong Racing, no, not Diddy Kong Racing, DKR64.com and look at the Wimbledon Plains Hovercraft 3-lap leaderboard. Trust me, it's pretty funny. Anyway, this track kinda has a load of things we could theoretically do, but are really inconsistent, so we're not going to do them. Like, there are a bunch of zippers we could be taking, but it's very inconsistent to, like, actually use them well. So yeah, we play with a pretty conservative strat here for the most part. It's very similar between using the balloon there to chain into the zipper, or just taking the other zipper for the beginning of the lap. Well, let's hit the tip of this lap. Oh, bumper kind of falls me into that zipper there. This track has a difficult zipper chain, which I would like to hit at least once, but in practice I wouldn't be surprised if I don't hit it. Oh cool, there we go. So that first zipper, you'll notice I jumped onto it. It's got really weird hit detection if you just try and drive onto it. It almost never works if you try and do that. There's like an extremely tiny slope right beforehand that kind of kicks you over it. And yeah, just causes it to not work, which is kind of weird. The ground zippers in this game have extremely short hitboxes. Even that last zipper there can be skipped over sometimes if you're unlucky. Probably gonna get hit by its CPUs here. Oh, that worked. Sure, that works. Oops. We have another checkpoint manipulation shortcut in this track. The only other one we're going to see in the run. Cheeky Leah strat at the beginning there. Okay, we're doing good for bananas at least. So if we go right about here, in this tunnel, and turn back around, get kind of to the left here on the way back. And then go here. Somehow we've just completed a whole lap. We don't know how it works either. But yeah, doing this is much quicker than going around the whole track 3 times. And this zipper chain is kind of makes or breaks a run on this track, usually. It is very rare to chain all 3 zippers here. 1, 2, 3. You usually get sent right over that last one, like 9 times out of 10. Or like, in my experience, like 99 times out of 100. Some people are way better at hitting that chain than I am. This is quite a cool track. Again, pretty short, but this track is way easier to deal with in hover than in car. Okay. That kind of worked. The thing about coming off boosts in hover is that you need to pretty much hold the A button down for a while before you can actually start A-tapping again. Basically takes up... It's kind of slow if you have to, like, start A-tapping again between boosts in hover compared to if you can just chain them. So you really want to chain this as much as you can in hover. It applies much more to this vehicle than car or plane. So I've trying to chain all the way to the end on that one. It kinda worked, kind of. It's more applicable in a track we're going to be seeing in about 5 minutes from now. This is War's Cave. You can do the loop skip thing I was trying to do in Dark Moon Caverns here, but it doesn't save very much, and it is also harder. So not going to be going for it. You can take these hills in car as well, but it's much more difficult. Hover is really built for them. you'll notice bonking off the walls really isn't that bad in hover. Sometimes it's even beneficial when we actually go for it intentionally. A head-on bonk will always be a time loss, but if you bonk the side of the hovercraft on something, you usually get a big speed boost in that direction. Which sometimes is just a strat we actually go for. Ooh, that's a really big fling, and I'm stuck on this. The gold pole is made out of pole there. Sometimes you can go right through them. Like, sometimes on some tracks they're like intangible for some reason. Try to find the word there. Wee. This is a really cool non-default hover track. Especially in the second half of this track, there are a bunch of these chains you can hit, if you're good. So, right here, zipper, into balloon, into zipper, into try and get balloon, and usually miss it because it's difficult, and then chain that into the zipper as well. You can get a 5 boost chain at the end there if you do it right. Ah. Alright. I accidentally menued up left instead of just up, but I guess we'll do this track now instead. I have to remember to do whale bay after this one, instead of going for the right. But this is a track where boost chains are extremely important. Mostly that really big one you can do in the first half of the track there. And yeah, this is one of only 3 tracks that are by default hovercraft, and also only playable in hovercraft. That last balloon is by far the biggest pain to get. Very small hitbox, very hard to aim precisely at it. Sometimes you just pass through it anyway. Oh, I've not been having good luck with that ramp. Got flung off to the right both times so far. Yeah, that balloon's a massive pain to hit. Still decent, but you generally want to get sub 50 there. Right, this is the track we're supposed to do first. And this is the last default hover track. This is probably my least favorite of the default hover tracks, mostly because of the whale here. It's really not cooperative most of the time, and this last balloon is quite difficult to hit. There is a safer strat you can do, which is to just hold onto this balloon on laps 2 and 3, but that's not doable on lap 1, and the whale is still a problem. A bit faster to finish over that way than it is to aim for the finish line. Accidentally restarted the track again. Lag can really affect you on the results screen as well, like that. This is kind of a weird track in hover. Now in time trials, at the moment we rank all versions on the same leaderboard. I am looking to change this, at least for RTA. But the main differences are between JP, or okay, I guess between NTSC as a whole, so including JP in both the US versions, and between PAL, because PAL kind of has completely different physics. And in some tracks, PAL actually is a bit faster than NTSC. This is one of them. The main reason for that is that PAL has an easier time getting lagless zippers in some cases. And this is one of those tracks in time trials. Like, NTSC pretty much can't get any lagless zippers in this track, but PAL can. Especially this first one, which can be so fast on PAL, that you can chain it right into that second zipper there. I would kind of like this to be changed, but it's kind of been that way ever since the beginning of this game, pretty much. Ever since the beginning of its history. Could go for that zipper there, but most of the time I'll get round hacked if I try to do that, so I'm just not going to bother. I'm going to hold on to this balloon for a little bit, and practice the sense of being quite difficult most of the time. Yeah, usually I miss that. But I would like to chain zipper, balloon, zipper there, if I can. And now CPUs are going to be in the way, so it's going to be way harder on lap 3. Oh, I actually got it. I got the balloon again. Cool. Now there's a different chain I can do here on lap 3 since we finished earlier anyway. Okay. That's actually decent. Right, we're in our final 4 hover tracks now. This is kind of an oddball. This is the only track that's playable in specifically hover and plane, and not car. Like the other 3 tracks which aren't playable in car aren't playable in plane either, but this one is playable in plane as well. It is plane by default. And this is also kind of an oddball track because it only has one zipper you can reasonably hit in time trials. But this is kind of just a test of just hover movement for most of the track. We do have an easier balloon chain we can go for in a balloon race mode though. We're just heading over this way. Never mind, I missed both of them somehow. Let it last rate. Really do not want to get kicked off that ledge either. That dinosaur's called Leopard, don't ask why. It's another kind of an oddball track in hover here. There's one kind of chain and that's it. This track is kind of too laggy in Balloon Race for you to really be able to do a whole lot. Kind of weird. Some tracks are laggier in Balloon Race and some of them are laggier in Time Trial. But this one is very laggy in Balloon Race, usually. And it's only made laggier by the fact we have music on. As long as you get sub 50, it's usually fine. This is quite a fun hover track in time trials. Surprisingly fun one, in fact. And this is probably one of the more competitive non-default hovers, I'd say. Ooh, big fling. Also might be wondering why I am sometimes turning the speedometer on and then immediately turning it off. That's a little thing called a C press. And it basically is... It just works as a lag button pretty much. Which is really nice if we just want lag on the spot. Like if we want to extend a zipper boost but we don't have a good way to do... Like, if we don't have a good way to otherwise generate the lag, we can just do a C press. And that's become a really big thing over the past couple of years. Been implemented in more and more tracks, and this track especially has seen a lot of improvements because of it. Ooh, thing again. Don't need to forget that I'm going for world record in time trial. Alright, last hover track. And we're back where we started. Some boost chains we can go for, but they're quite difficult, probably not going to hit them. You kind of go too fast to control yourself reasonably in this track. I was lucky getting that one actually. Pipsy getting bumped into the water. Oh, weapon. Okay. That would be time on hover percent, about a 28:19-ish, which is an okay time. PB/record is 26, but that's fine. And we enter our final vehicle now, plane. And now usually, when I do a run like this, I start with plane because plane has some of the hardest tracks, and also my hand ends up fried after doing hover. So usually when I do it in this order, Ancient Lake Plane ends up being pretty terrible. But yeah, plane is kind of the chat of the three vehicles, as some wise people have put it. This vehicle's kind of all out speed, just YOLO, all that stuff. Just go as fast as you can, and then, like, yeah, if you hit something, that's a problem for future you. So the main thing in plane is barrel rolls, which kind of act as boosts in themselves. Plane basically has... Plane can basically make its own boosts, which is why it's usually the fastest vehicle on any track that it's featured on. Speaking of, it's only playable in 11 out of 20 tracks, so it's the least featured. It's the least, yeah. It has the least representation in this category and in time trials. Oh, wait. Oh, I knew that ceiling would mess me up there. Let's get a balloon, that's last lap just for fun. Generally you want to get sub-minute there. Roundabout. The other key thing about plane is that we are trying to not hold the A button at all in a lot of cases. Because the A button will actually kind of slow us down, drag us down to like our normal top speed. Lower than what power rolling can get us. So yeah, in a lot of tracks we want to pretty much never press the A button after we start. Sometimes though, if you can't barrel roll somewhere, or it's uncomfortable to do so, you will have to go back to holding A for a bit. So like here, holding A during that barrel roll, go back to A for a little bit, and then as soon as I'm boosting, I'm off that A button again. And even mistakes like that, it's usually faster to back them up by just doing another barrel roll, rather than holding A button. I restarted the track again. Third time I've done that this run. The last key thing about plane is that having the greatest control over all of its axes of movement means that it can do some less intentional things than the other two vehicles. So if you watched a full game run, you've probably already seen this. So basically the barrel roll can completely ignore the liquid state, which also applies to the molten cheese found in this track, and also a few other things. And in effect, if we do a barrel roll pretty much right before we hit the molten cheese, we can kind of be unaffected by it, trying to bring us back up to the surface. We can go completely underneath the wall, and we can pop out out of bounds. And yeah, from there we just have to hit 2 key checkpoints in this track. Generally you want more than 3 bananas though. That's not great to be out with 3 bananas. Bananas increasing your speed. And actually plane percent is kind of an out-of-bounds gauntlet. We got another one right here. This is kind of a weird out-of-bounds. Only 2 key checkpoints again, but this is such a short track that this out-of-bounds often works quite weirdly. The shortcut flap here in Time Trials, Fast Lap, is also a very notable time trial category. It is the shortest time trial category in the whole game, coming in at about 2.2 seconds. And home to previously the biggest world record time in the game, I restarted the track for the 4th time in the run. This used to be a 7-way tie, and then it got beaten quite recently by someone whose name begins with L, and is now back to a 2-way tie, but yeah. But no time to waste here, we got another out of bounds, which I managed to hit first try this time, unlike my GDQ run where I hit it second try. Nice. This is the most recent out of bounds that we've started using in plane percent runs. It's quite a difficult one as well. I'd say this is like the second hardest out of bounds that we do in this run. Just 2 key checkpoints we're looking to hit. The verticality, so my height, is really important in this track. Also, that's a fake wrong way. We're fine. This ending section here, ooh. Okay, yeah, I had a feeling that would happen. Right, we'll go inbounds for lap 3. But yeah, that can be a big problem sometimes, trying to stay out of bounds. Very hard to do in this track. And also, a little side effect, we have hit the fog trigger. We kind of hit that going into lap 2, but we never hit the thing that gets rid of it, so we've kind of got the fog for the whole lap here. Yeah, this is a very difficult inbounds plane track, usually. So honestly, doing it out of bounds is kind of easier than doing it inbounds. Okay, we're actually on a default plane track now. And this is the hardest out of bounds that we do in most 4-game categories, so the 4-game categories are only really featuring default vehicles for the most part. This is the hardest one of those. Generally considered to be, anyway. Back in like 2016 or so, this wasn't even considered RTA viable, but it's not the worst thing ever now. Not jinxing myself, surely. Okay. Nearly did. That is not a very good clip. You can hold a lot more speed than that doing the clip. Either way, though. You can be up to 9 bananas, which is generally what I like to have. I also came dangerously close to flipping back in bounds there. Wow. But yeah, 8 bananas is a good amount to have doing this. There's not just the clip that's difficult, it's also the out-of-bounds movement. Again, we're really watching out for our height in this track. I have to be going back down for this bit. Hit this checkpoint. Got some lag there, so I'll throw in an extra barrel roll. I think I hit that checkpoint, yeah. And then, yeah. I restarted the track for the 5th time in the run. My menuing's not there today. Kind of a break from the out-of-bounds as well. We actually just have a really hard inbounds track here. And this track's kind of love it or hate it, pretty much. Everyone has an opinion on this track. I, for one, really love this track. It's probably one of my best tracks usually. And ideally you never touch the A button in this track after the start boost. Let's see if we can nail that. Like even there, I missed that zipper. I could have backed it up by holding A, but instead I just backed it up by doing 2 extra barrel rolls, which is way faster. Oh yeah, full chain. Even there, miss that zipper, just do another barrel roll. I've not touched A since the start boost. And still 58. Generally sub-minute's like the gold standard for that track. Kind of like sub-minute or bust, pretty much. And we actually have another really difficult inbounds plane track here. This track does have an out-of-bounds, but it is extraordinarily difficult to make faster for a 3-lap, and it's just extremely difficult in the first place. It's the hardest out-of-bounds that we've really, like, done more than once. Unlike most out-of-bounds flips where you kind of, like, barrel roll into a wall somewhere, the one in this track is completely different. You kind of just have to fall down a really narrow chute. It's really weird, kind of hard to explain without a video. If you're interested, go to dkr64.com and look at Space Dust Alley Plane shortcut. So yeah, typically this is just considered a really difficult inbounds plane track. Usually considered to be the hardest default vehicle track in the game. In the category All Trophy Races, where we simply do every track, this is usually the track we start with. Ugh. That was sketchy. This has been a fantastic Fast-Athon, though. This is really good. I think anyone will be happy with this in an All Trophy Races run, 111. Like, you can't go too much faster than that. Alright, this track. Now, if I hit this, I'm going to be the most clutch gamer alive. If I don't, I won't be surprised, because it's quite difficult. This track has an out-of-bounds. It is extraordinarily difficult to do. Well, extraordinarily is kind of a stretch. It's the hardest out-of-bounds that people tend to go for in plane descent. I'm going to build all the way up to a triple balloon here for safety. If I hit this, it would be really cool. Well, that's the complete opposite of what I wanted to do. The barrel roll button or inputs are also mapped to tricks like that. So, yeah. You need to kind of like hold to the side to get a barrel roll, but I kind of pushed too far up on the joystick, trying to nosedive. And that will make that happen instead. So we're going to try that again, because I really want to hit that. Nice. Okay. We're kind of clutch. This is a very rare trick. You really don't get to see this very much. It would have been nice to hit it first try, but what can you do? Don't clip back in. Okay. There's a bit of water there. It likes to zip you back up to the surface if you're not careful. At least we got out of bounds. I got that first try in my GDQ run a couple weeks ago and it's super hype. But yeah, you really don't see that very often. You need a balloon to do it. You can't do it in time trials. And nobody really plays these vehicle percent categories much to begin with, so yeah, it's kind of in a weird spot. Anyway, we're on the final track of the run now. Time is going to end as soon as I cross the finish line here. And this is actually the only reason why we're playing the Japanese version of this game. Because I have a Japanese only out of bounds here, which thankfully that bomb gave me more time to explain. Okay, no balloon, but you can still do it. So, in the Japanese version, which is the first version they released, and for the record there's only one JP version, there's no like 1.0, 1.1 or anything, they just forgot to put a polygon there. So you can just kind of get up there, hold A, B, and R, and also push like kind of back on the joystick, and you can just fall out of bounds really easily. So just 3 key checkpoints in this track after that, and not much left to go. Time's going to come up in like probably 5 seconds. As soon as I cross the finish line. And time. I was doing a lot of yapping in that run, wow. But there is a lot to talk about in this game, I'm not surprised. So I still give it to a 102, which is a decent time. I think my estimate's kind of tight for this category. But yeah, 102 is a pretty good time. I don't know what. I don't know what.
Underestimate. It's all good with us.
I don't know what else I have to say. Other than this game is really cool. It has, in my opinion, the best speedrunning community. Like, just the coolest people play this game. Like, yeah, including having met them in real life at like ESA and stuff. Like, this game has the best community. And we're still finding stuff to this day. Like, still finding stuff to this day due to like just the volatile nature of this game. Like, if someone gets a world record in this game, it's like on an individual track, it's usually by like quite a bit more than you'd expect for like an optimized game. Even then, this game is like really optimized still, and it's just such a cool, it's in such a good position right now. It's also kind of underground, as I mentioned at the beginning. Like, surprisingly few people play this game for how popular it was on the console and how much everyone seems to love it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. That is my last run of this marathon, but there is still a little bit left to go in this marathon, so do not go anywhere. And good luck with the rest.
Okay, thank you. Yes, excellent run there. The community can't be that awesome though, because I'm not in it. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But we're going to take a brief intermission. Do not go too far, folks, because sad face. We're coming up for the very last run of this Fast-Athon 2025, which is Lincoln with Super Metroid Ascent. So a really awesome run to end on. So do not go too far. We're going to take a brief intermission. We'll be back very shortly.